Wow. Man. So, what's up, guys? So, I actually just got called into a meeting, and I've just been terminated for making a YouTube channel about ship life. Can you believe that? I definitely can't. Like, seriously, like. No, I'm just kidding. Listen up, guys. So before we get started in today's episode, I actually just want to address something really small. So every time I make a YouTube post, for some reason, there are always those 3 or 4 people that feel like they have to, I don't know, educate me, inform me, warn me about being careful about the content I post on YouTube about the ship life. So I'm just gonna break it down real quick for you guys, just so everybody understands. It's 2019. I'm just being real. As cliche as it sounds, it's 2019. All right, and I can guarantee you that there are about 100 different channels about this very same subject, ship life, that are disclosing a lot more crazier content information than I am. All right. I get it. This is a big corporate company, and they are very sensitive about what information is getting out there. But I've dealt with bigger companies than this, and I know how it is. All right. I'm not disclosing some crazy information. I'm not really bashing the company at all, and I'm not bashing cruise lines. It's a great job, but I just want to make sure you guys understand the reality of the situations. There's nothing wrong with being real. I get it. There's a thin line between, I guess, maybe being truthful and bashing. I don't know. Some people may see it differently. But anyway, and also on a personal level, guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm a contractor, all right? I don't just work for this company. My career doesn't start and end with this cruise line that I'm working for, all right? I'm not looking for a 401k with this company. I'm not looking to retire, blah, 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 all right? When this is done, which honestly I have about 2 more weeks left. I have one 14-day cruise, and then I actually go home for 2 days, and I head over to Europe for another gig. Spend time with my girlfriend and just hang out, and then I have more gigs after that. I work for multiple companies, guys, as a contractor. So my lifestyle and my rules are a little bit different. I know there's a contract that you have to read, and there's a lot of fine print, but just please understand that when you guys are commenting, it's not that I don't care. Don't get it twisted. It's not that I don't care. Don't get me wrong. But I'm aware. All right? Anywho, I've spent too much time on this, guys. Today's episode we are going to talk about is going to be about getting fired. What happens when you get fired in the middle of your contract? Let's get started, shall we? Let's go! So, let's talk about getting fired, getting canned, getting sacked, the boot. What happens when a cruise line lets you go in the middle of a contract? Well, it's an easy question, guys. I'm actually going to make it quite simple for you. You get fired in the middle of the contract and you're in the middle of the ocean. There's actually a helicopter that comes and picks you up and takes you back home. Nah, I'm just kidding, guys. So honestly, this is a pretty simple question to answer. So I'm gonna give you guys some examples of what happened, and we'll go from there. So getting fired on a cruise line is honestly a very common thing that happens. All right, this is a big company. You're talking about thousands and thousands of employees, so it happens quite frequently, actually. So I'm gonna go over the main reasons that people get fired here on the ship. All right, but before I do that, guys, just understand, because I know a lot of people have ambitions or desires or dreams to work on the ship. Just understand, any kind of lifestyle that's similar to this, you have to learn to be adaptable. All right. Personally, I consider myself to be pretty adaptable. Honestly, one of my favorite quotes ever is from Stephen Hawking. All right, may he rest in peace. It is that intelligence is the ability to adapt. All right. I know that's cheesy, but it's a real thing, guys. Like, you have to be adaptable when it comes to this lifestyle and understand how to maintain control, both mentally and I guess physically too, or spiritually, however you want to look at it. But so here's what happens when people get fired, or here's how people get fired. First of all, the main reason that people get fired a lot of the time is one of the bigger rules here on the ship, and most cruise lines actually. There is no fraternizing with the guest, sexually, that is. All right, you can't get busy with the guest. You can't do the thing with the guest. All right, that is a no-no. All right, it's a no-go. You can't do it. But obviously it happens. All right. Some people want to take the risk and do it, then so be it. I actually know a couple people here that have done it. You know what I mean? It's a thing. Not going to name names, but I've seen it happen plenty of times, all right? Now, if you get caught doing it, it is no questions asked, immediate termination, all right? So there's that reason, and also another big reason that people get canned is obviously the drinking, all right? Now, ever since that whole issue happened with the Costa Concordia sinking, laws kind of changed a little bit, all right? So now, technically, every crew member has to be part of the safety team, which means that they can't be past a certain alcohol level. On my ship, for example, it is 0.4 if you're working. If you aren't working, it's 0.5. Now, don't get me wrong, the officers and security on the ship are not that quick to breathalyze somebody. The only reason that they would is if you're acting out, all right? I've seen it happen plenty of times where people are on shore. We'd be in places like Cozumel and Jamaica, whatnot, and people have been out all day and they've been turning up, drinking, getting wasted, you know? When they come back to the ship, it's obvious, right? They don't know how to kind of contain themselves just for that brief second to get past security. They get caught up there, they get breathalyzed, they go home, right? So as far as going home, there are a few scenarios in which the process goes for you going home. So scenario one, for example, just to give you guys another example of what happened, I had a friend, all right, from China, Lee. All right, he actually just recently went home. So here's what happened with him. All right, this doesn't happen a lot, but people get fired for this stuff too. So on the ship, if you're a foreigner, let's say for example this is a U.S. based ship, right? If you're a foreigner, they don't just let you off in New York City for whatever reason, but you can get off in Florida and Miami. Like it's no different. I don't understand that, but whatever. So I believe you have to be working for about 3 years or so before you can get off in New York City. So Lee was working for 3 years, right? So he finally obtained the privilege to go off in New York City and explore and enjoy it. So here's what Lee did. He ended up having a little too much fun, and he came back to the ship 30 minutes late. Now, this isn't a main reason why people get fired, but being late on a ship when the call time is a certain time is again a no-go. The cruise lines won't have it. They'll give you usually about 3 strikes. If that happens, even if you're 2 minutes late, that's still a strike, right? So Lee had already had, I guess, two strikes from 2 other separate incidents. It's his 3rd strike. The guy came back 30 minutes late to the ship in New York City, right? Now, the officers and security, the head honchos, they don't know Lee, all right? They don't know him at all. All they know is there is a man from China late from the ship. Now, I've mentioned this in another video. People on cruise lines, it doesn't happen too often, I believe, but people do what's called jumping ship, where they often in American ports, they just leave, right? They're from these other countries, right? Developing countries, and they have dreams of living in the US, so they'll just leave their passport and all their other personal belongings on the ship and just ditch the ship and try to go live in the States. It happens. So with Lee, they just made the assumption, right, because they don't know him, all right, they made the assumption that he was trying to jump ship, right? So they fired him. And with the situation, because depending on when you go home after you get fired, solely depends on the situation. They considered it as a big matter, like an important matter, to get him back home as soon as possible in case he allegedly, you know, tried to jump ship again. So our next stop was in the Bahamas. As soon as we got to the Bahamas, they put him on a plane and he was gone. All right. Now, as far as the drinking, all right, you get fired for drinking, for example. Let's use me. Let's say I went up and I was in the crew bar turning up, all right, and I was throwing up all over the place and vomiting and whatnot, and I was a mess, all right. Just again, for example, just use an example, all right. Wouldn't do it. I have pretty good control of my alcohol and I know my limits. But let's say that happened, and I got fired, right? I blew over and I got fired. Now, they would probably send me home at the next home port, which would probably be, which for us is New York. So they send you home in New York either when the cruise was concluded, about either 7 or 14 days later, depending on our cruise, because we do both week and 2-week cruises. All right, they wouldn't be in such a rush. Now, if somebody is getting fired, they don't really, I guess the term would be, they kind of quarantine you. You're not sick, but basically the fun is over for you, right? If you are getting terminated, and you know you are, and everybody knows you are, basically what security will do is only allow you to be in your cabin, all right? Be in the mess so you can eat, and maybe occasionally go out to deck 8 for a cigarette. Other than that, you're really not allowed to have any more fun. You can't go to the crew bar, you can't go partying and whatnot, because technically, you know, you don't work for the company anymore, so you can't enjoy the good parts of it or whatever. So yeah, that happens on occasion, which I've seen. Honestly, like I said, I had a friend that honestly, he, you know, we had a little private island that we stop at near the Bahamas, and he turned up a little too much, and he had a show. All right, he had a show in the middle of the afternoon, and he was turned up. I'm telling you, man, like, you should have seen it. This guy had like, he was a singer, so he was putting the microphone in guests' faces and whatnot, and grabbing booties and whatnot, and when they confronted him about being drunk, he snapped. Talk about an angry drunk. So honestly, he was gone, just like that. But they sent him home in the home port about a week later. So yeah, that definitely happens. I don't know what other information I can disclose about the whole firing situation. Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. So hopefully, if you guys ever get on a ship or whatnot, or just in general, I hate to burn bridges. Like, I've quit a job once. All right, I quit actually the Harlem Globetrotters. I was working with them for five whole years, and I left. One day maybe I'll tell you that very, very interesting story. But anyway, guys, I don't really want to keep just blabbering on. That's my video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, thank you so much for the support, guys. I'm gonna keep these videos coming. Like I said at the beginning of my video, I'm actually leaving in about 2 weeks. My contract is concluding, but I'm definitely going to keep this channel going. So guys, please just continue to follow me, and I'll leave my link to my Instagram below. Follow me on social media as well, and if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in the comment box below, and I do always get back to my followers if you guys have questions. So yeah, that's it. I'm out, and until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Peace. Wait, I almost forgot one thing, guys. I know you guys want to know that if you get fired, do you have to pay for your own flight? To my knowledge, typically no. You don't have to pay for your flight, because if it's last minute or something like that, you could be screwed as far as buying a cheap flight. Almost impossible. The only scenarios where I've really heard of people paying for flights is if they quit. All right, just keep that in mind. So yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.